Hi, Ben here from River Music Experience, and I was thinking today we could talk a little bit about getting started on guitar. I have friends ask me all the time, I want to learn how to play guitar, but I'm not sure where I should start. What kind of guitar should I get? How should I learn how to play? What should I start learning with first? So I was thinking we could do just a quick crash course on good places to start with guitar if you're interested in learning it. Some of this information can kind of work for any instrument. If you just want to learn how to play, these are kind of good tips to get started on anything. But we're definitely going to be focusing on guitar here. We got to start at square one here. Different types of guitars and what guitar you should get. So, this can kind of all depend on what your budget is. But I would highly recommend you don't go out there and try to buy the most expensive guitar you can find. Because, you might find after playing guitar for a couple months that you don't really enjoy it. And that's fine. Maybe there's a different instrument you like. Or maybe you're a singer and you don't want to play guitar. It's okay. Everybody has their own thing. But you don't want to go out and buy some super expensive guitar and now you have to figure out how to resell it or return it or anything like that. So it's good to start out with something that's maybe in the I would say 300 is probably the most you want to spend. Anything under that is a good place to go. Now, of course, if you don't have money to buy a guitar, actually at River Music Experience, we have a program called Let's Band Together, where we take in people's old instruments and we fix them up and we loan them out to people who can't afford an instrument so that everybody can learn how to play. So you can find out more information about that at rivermusicexperience.org. I'll throw the website down here at the bottom. So let's talk about different types of guitars. There are two main types of guitars that we're going to be talking about here. An acoustic guitar, which is like one of these guys here, that has the whole sound hole there, and it's all self-contained. And then there's an electric guitar, which I don't actually have with me here right now, but it's the same idea, but instead of playing it with sound hole, it works all on its own. It plugs into an amplifier, and that's how you get the sound there. Now, it seems like most people, when they start out on guitar, they get an acoustic guitar, because like I said, it's all self-contained. You don't need anything extra. All you need is the guitar and you're good to go. I know when I first learned how to play guitar, I was learning on an acoustic guitar. I don't think that's a bad way to go at all. I think acoustic guitars are great. And at the end of the day, these are all suggestions. Whatever instrument gets you excited to play, that you enjoy playing and makes you want to practice and get better, that's the right instrument for you. But it might be a good idea for beginner guitarists, especially if you haven't built up the finger strength playing a different stringed instrument, to start on an electric guitar. With an electric guitar, there's going to be some extra things you're going to have to get, mainly an instrument cable and then a guitar amplifier, so that you can actually hear the guitar that you're playing. It's a little bit more of a barrier to entry there, but the reason that I say an electric guitar might be better to start with is a lot of times the string gauge is lower on an electric guitar, and what that means is the strings are lighter and they're easier to play. And a lot of times a guitar can be set up with the action closer to the neck. And what action means is the strings are closer to the neck, making it easier to play as well. So overall, even for professional guitar players, a lot of times an electric guitar is easier to play than an acoustic guitar. But like I said, if you're like, I really want an acoustic guitar, that's what I want to learn on, that's what I want to play on, my favorite guitar players play acoustic guitar, that's great. Like I said, I started on that. So it's all about getting the instrument that's going to make you want to practice. So you have your guitar here, and you want to start learning how to play. There's a couple different ways you can go with it from here. I think the very best thing you can do is find a guitar teacher that has a lot of good recommendations, and will listen to and understand what you want to do with the instrument and we'll teach you how to do that. There's a lot of great information on the internet and on YouTube. I have learned a lot from YouTube videos. They are a great resource, and if that's your thing and it works for you, that's great. But I really think that there is no substitute to having one-on-one instruction with a teacher. So if you can find an instructor that can help you out, or even if it's just a friend that already plays guitar, that can kind of sit down and show you some stuff, being next to each other with the guitar and really being able to have someone look at what you're doing and tell you how to improve is a great, great resource. I like to try and learn songs as quickly as I can. I think you're going to have the most fun early on playing if you can have something that you can play along with. I think scales and that kind of thing are super important, especially if you're going to take guitar seriously and you want to get better at it. You need to learn that stuff. But I think that it's a good idea to find an easy guitar song that's maybe 3 chords or maybe some single notes that you can play along with, because that's how you're going to have fun early on and want to keep going with it. When I started playing guitar, I started working with single note stuff. I learned what's called the 12-bar blues, and I learned this little walking bass line here. And then you just move it over. It's the same pattern. Stuff like this is great to learn on when you're first starting, because you could get the finger dexterity on different fingers, so you can kind of get each note to ring out well with each different finger, which is very important on guitar. But you also start to see how guitar is a lot of different patterns, and kind of when you learn these patterns, you can move them around the neck and you can play all sorts of different things. So if you've kind of worked on the single note stuff a little bit and you've gotten your fingers stronger, the place I think that everybody wants to go to is they want to learn how to play a song and sing along. And on guitar, we talk a lot about what's called caged, which is C-A-G-E-D. Those are your open chords that are kind of the basis for everything else chordally on the guitar. I'm not going to necessarily go through here and show you how to play each chord right now, but because there's a lot of great resources on the internet for that, and like I said, it's going to help a lot if you have an instructor who can sit down with you and help you learn those chords. But once you learn those chords, C-A-G-E-D, you can play a ton of stuff. That all of a sudden opens up so many doors for you. And from there, it's really sky's the limit. It's all in how much effort and time you want to put into it. These are just some basic ideas of where to start on guitar. Like I mentioned earlier, there's really no wrong answers. Whatever works for you is what works for you. That's the best way to go. There's plenty of amazing guitar players that people talk about as some of the greatest guitar players of all time that technically play the guitar wrong. So it's really about it's about you finding an instrument and finding a way to play it that inspires you to keep playing. I've been saying this over and over again here, but I think that's the most important thing, is you have to stick with it. You're not going to learn how to play guitar in a week. You need to stick with it and keep practicing. If you can sit down, especially when you're starting out and you're trying to build up that finger strength, if you can sit down with a guitar and just play for 15 minutes to a half hour every day, your fingers will get stronger and they will learn where to go on the neck, and you'll be able to play all sorts of stuff before you know it. But you need to stick with it. You need to stick with it. All right, well, I'm going to play you an example of a simple song that you could probably learn fairly early on in your guitar playing. All it uses is G, D, C, and E minor, which E minor is just slightly different from your E. So when you learn E, you can pretty easily play E minor after that. But it's kind of, that chord progression also works in a ton of different songs too. So I'm showing you one example here. I'm going to play Wagon Wheel for you. But really, you could do this with all sorts of different things. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this informational here. If you have any questions, or you want any extra advice, you can always reach out to us about learning how to play guitar. rivermusicexperience.org, and there's email addresses on there. There's ways to contact us. Get a hold of us if you have any questions and you want advice on getting started playing an instrument. All right, let's jam. All right, so here we go. If you're playing along at home, it's G, D, E minor, C, G, D, C. We just keep doing that. We'll head down south to the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way through North Carolina. Stand up the road, pray to God I see headlights. But I made it up the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers. And I'm hoping for Raleigh, I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Yes, so rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, oh, mama, rock me. Time string band, my baby plays guitar, I pick the banjo now. And the North Country winters are getting me down. I lost some money playing poker, so I had to up the lead. And I ain't going back, living that old life no more. Yes, so rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, anyway. Out here, we do get nice and quiet. We'll run from the whoop. Head down south out of Roanoke. Caught a truck out of Philly and had a nice long toke. But he's headed west to the Cumberland Gap, to Johnson City, Tennessee. And I gotta get a move on before the sun. Hear my baby calling my name, and I know she's the only one. And if I die right, at least I'll die free. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Yes, so rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, oh, mama, rock me. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, as you can see there, don't be afraid to make mistakes every once in a while. But yeah, you just got to keep trying, keep pushing yourself to get better, and just keep at it. It's hard work, but when you really learn how to play it, it's called playing an instrument, right? It's a lot of fun, and it's something you can do for your entire life. So I highly suggest, whether or not it's guitar, you find an instrument that you love to play. Uh, I've been Ben from the River Music Experience. I hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you next week.